Gonna be interesting to see what happens there, as I believe we have jumped into the game already.
Yeah, we are straight into game, so let's have a quick rundown of the picks before we actually jump into the action. So we've got that Lindis, Redemption played that yesterday, Azure and the Chalgnar, Malok, Praetor being picked up. It's Vitality who get the Wonder Woman as well. On the side of SK, Nico, who's actually the KDA leader of the bracket so far. He's on Fane. You've got Poseidon on the L'Oreal. So no Tulin, could have been banned out, we don't know yet. Ryoma, Zenial, and of course that lane Batman, which Peach has been playing a lot of recently.
Actually, looking at these picks, I'm gonna have to go and say our predictions were correct. I think Superman Murad have been banned out because Vitality did have the first pick. So Vitality probably banned Murad, and then I think the response from SK was the fact that they did take Superman out of Vitality's hands. We did have an early fight, the kill to go down, and now SK are looking to pick up a pistol.
Yeah, nice early Abyssal Dragon for SK Gaming, so got themselves a nice 500 gold lead at the moment, but they're equalized on kills. Looking at where they've gone, it's Malok, so Flo, picking up that first kill. He's got the double health crystals at the moment, moving towards that armor, and then you look at L'Oreal, she's picked it up on the side of SK, so giving her that nice gold advantage to start getting those earlier magic items and start scaling up into the mid game.
Yeah, so I think for mid laners it's going to be a straightforward build, Orb and Magi into some sort of defensive boots, and then we're going to see, I believe, either penetration or something like the staff coming through, which gives you magic lifesteal. Yeah. So I think that's usually straightforward builds. We have a little bit of action. SK actually going early aggression here. Vex is going to be there as well. Sutara is going to get Spectral Line down. He's going to jump forward, and the ultimate has still not been used. Now it comes through. Light is going to be there as well. Channeling the ultimate, that is Zenial. The pushback from Nico is going to be there. Flo is going to follow. He's going to go down. Malok is the first to fall in this fight. Sutaro is trying to deal damage, but he cannot deal enough because SK is high on his heal, and he's going to go down as well. SK with a couple of good picks and a good invade.
Absolutely, it looked like Flo was actually left out to dry there as he jumped in with the shock. He positioned himself maybe a little bit too aggressively for the rest of Vitality to keep up with the fight, and as such, he's easy to focus down. Malok does have sustain, but he can't keep alive that long if everyone is focusing, especially this early on into the game. So SK Gaming still accruing those leads and starting to get ahead, especially with that first tower of the game going down in their favor.
Yeah, the tower is going to provide them with 130 gold throughout the team. That is definitely an important part of taking that down, as well as the map control that they now have to the top side of the jungle, because you can invade there, not be scared for the top tower to actually stop your retreat from that. So I think SK taking an early lead, and we can already see 2,000 roughly gold difference. And this is what I said before the stream as well, is that SK have fixed their early game. Vex is really strong, and they prioritize around Vex reaching that level 4, and then they take fights, and it's really showing because SK right now are 3-1 in the lead.
Absolutely, and let's have a look at the scaling items. So, of course, the popular Zenial build at the moment is to go for that Leviathan first, start building up those stacks with the Punish. On the opposite side, Lindis has got her hold of that Soul Stealer, going to start stacking up that damage. Now flows into an engagement with Peach and Poseidon. Going to use that shot to try and buy some time, but here comes Light as well with his own ultimate. With the crash down onto Malok, will take him out of the fight. Sutaro diving in with the Lasso of Truth. My advice himself, there's the ultimate to keep him alive, give him ability to shield everything, and the skirmish continues into the blue side of the jungle. For Sutaro, he's having a lot of trouble with Poseidon at the moment, but they're going to disengage. They don't want to bite off more than they can chew. Vitality picking up 2 kills to the 1 of SK.
A fantastic fight coming through from Vitality. They were consistently able to dodge back, and Flo even surviving that extra couple of seconds definitely went a long way in securing them the fight, because, well, now as Daniel being played by Light, had to use Malice aggressively to secure that kill for them to have it. So I think Vitality played that fight really well, and if they can keep this up, they could potentially bring this game back, because Gold Reed right now is on SK, who are taking Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, they're going to keep on with that achievement, but here comes Azure backing off. He wanted to stall out the Abyssal Dragon, maybe get a little bit of time for Vitality to react, but it's still going to go down to SK Gaming. Now looking where everyone's rotating, it's the two heroes with the mobile ults in the off lane. You've got the Zenial Malok matchup, but unfortunately, Zenial is, despite being listed as a support tank or a support healer, he's actually incredibly strong and can output a lot of damage with his shield.
Yeah, Divine Protection into Malice jumps can definitely bring and burst a lot of HP down onto the characters, so I definitely have to agree with you. But also the passive, so every third out attack you deal a little bit of extra damage there, so that goes a long way in doing the damage to the opposition members. But I do think the vitality at the current stage, well, Malik doesn't have as good of a mobility as Zenial does, but if they can be on top of the rotations, they still have a good chance of bringing this one back, even though right now it's looking like 3.40,000 roughly lead here.
Well, that's the problem with the Zenial-Malok matchup, is that because Zenial has that longer range with the ultimate, he's able to stay in the lane longer and not have to roam down to fights earlier. So they should always have the Zenial lane pushing in their favor. It creates so many split push opportunities and creates an objective advantage just innately for the side that has the Zenial. So I do feel for Vitality, because they really need to make sure if they pull Malok to those fights, they have to get the fight win and then some to make it worse. Otherwise, they're going to start losing towers for nothing.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And for guys wondering at home if there's any counter to Zenial in the name of Zill who can jump in with an ultimate, we've seen Murad jumping back and then Zill follows. Well, we have done some scientific testing on the casting side of things and it doesn't work. Zenial does go out of there, so you're going to be left to dry with that Zill trying to ult and follow that Zenial up.
Yeah, so there's no recourse for following Zenial across the map. No one has the range he does at the moment, which is why it opens up so many options for a team. And one of the reasons, I wouldn't say the main reason, but it's one of the reasons he's picked so much. Main reason he's picked, he's just incredibly strong right now.
Yeah, well, he's strong in priorities across all regions. Thailand Pro League as well, ongoing right now, favors Zenial a lot. So it goes to show a long way that even in Asian regions, these teams are prioritizing Zenial. As it looks like SK are trying to pull up some aggression. Redemption's gonna get caught out. There's the nuke from SK side. Pish and Nico are gonna take the kill. Vitality on the retreat now. The Void Cleanse is gonna help Azure survive for a little bit longer. There's the Zenial ult. Wonder One ult onto 4, and now they jump in from Light. They're gonna get the kill onto Azure. Zutaro is gonna be there, and Light's gonna push Moon back under and away from the tower. Nico is trying to deal damage to Zutaro. Zutaro's not falling. Somehow Vitality is surviving this, but not long enough because they're gonna lose extra couple of members, and SK are gonna come out on top with another tower.
And that's the ultimate advantage of Zenial to Malok I was talking about. Notice where Malok is. He was still in the top lane for the majority of the fight. He was pushed into the tower. If SK decides to make a snap decision like that and call Zenial over to the fight, there is nothing Malok can do to keep up with him. There is nothing nobody can do. You have to be proactive if you have the Malok into the Zenial. If you don't relocate Malok sooner, you will be caught off guard with a man advantage like we just saw Light do there with the Zenial. So SK really playing to the strengths of their composition, knowing that they have that option available, and the pressure they created in the top lane forcing Malok to stay there longer than he should have done.
Yeah, I think in terms of SK's team fight, if you look at it, not even the fact that Zenial is such a mobile character and does provide the heal once he jumps in, but you look at Poseidon or even Vex on that Ryoma, both of them have some sort of built-in healing into their kit, which means that they're gonna survive that extra couple of seconds longer for Zenial to get there, really heal up and damage reduce them. So it's definitely impactful for Zenial to be across the map and be able to join the fights because, well, SK can survive a little bit longer in these fights.
Well, 3 of their members can, because Batman has the sustain from his Batarang as well. So you've got 3 sustain there, plus Nico, who's playing Fane, who should be tanking, should be able to endure anyway. So your squishier members have that sustain for the reinforcement of Zenial. So it's nice to see that they've got something that can take the elongated fights into this matchup. Azure gonna back off though. He's been caught a couple of times out on this Chaonar so far. But Flo, he's diving in. I think that was a retreat, but it's right into the middle of the SK lineup. Not much you can do about that. It's going to be an easy pickup for SK. Now with nearly a 7K, nearly an 8K gold lead 10 minutes into this matchup.
Yeah, a phenomenal play coming through from SK, building that gold lead, and now Dark Slayer attempt gonna go through from SK as well. It's not even an attempt, they're just gonna go ahead and take it because Vitality, at this point, they're outnumbered. There's nothing Vitality can do to stop this.
And they're on the other side of the map as well. They're just rotating down to the bottom side. You know, they're trying to get farm from the jungle because they know they just have to concede the top half of their map. So rather than lose everything, they've got a little bit of time to play with. Let's get the resources from the jungle. Let's make sure we're still trying to keep up with the pressure that SK are applying onto us. Now Flo is going to be the lone guardian of the top tower, and a lot of attention is going to be in the mid. They're just going to concede the outer. There's no reason to contest it out of the safety of the base, especially when Darkslayer is available for SK Gaming.
Yeah, SK definitely has the Dark Slayer buff, 30% damage as well as 1% boost to health and mana regens is definitely going to help a bunch in pushing and sieging the enemy towers here. But I don't think Vitality knew, but if they would have known that Pish was down at the bottom lane with that Batman split up from the rest of his team, Vitality could have initiated onto 4 members of SK and really taken the fight. There's the pullback from Zutaro. It's going to be there, and Pish has gone out of the fight. The Zero's low, and he's going to be gone as well. Flow ultimate onto 3. It's good. Poseidon jumping forward. He's going to redeem the kill, but he's going to fall as well. Flow is tanking 3, but not for long as he's in the grave. Redemption and Moon are the couple of members alive. They're carry players. They definitely have the damage to push back SK, but at this point, SK is just a little bit too tanky. Nico's going to jump in. There's the Avalon's Fury and Malice to complete the kill onto Redemption. SK with a wonderful couple of picks.
And they need to be careful around this bottom lane tower. You just saw Moon pick off a member of the SK lineup, and he's going very low. He should be able to get away from the shield. No, he cannot. Vex and Light incredibly low. They got that bottom high ground tower. They've cracked open the base of Vitality, and they need to be in retreat as they're all coming back up from that previous engagement. I mean, credit to SK for being able to stick out that long and actually get that bottom high ground tower. Despite it being a relatively wonky team fight, I don't think there was a very clear defined winner from that, just because the carriers of Vitality were able to stay alive so long.
Yeah, definitely. And it did help Vitality a little bit that they were able to stall out because those carry players surviving. So I think SK could have gotten even potentially a win here if those would have been support heroes or even warrior heroes there. So Pish is going to do a little bit of aggression. He's going to get the blue buff, but he's going to be pushed back by Vitality. But now, with 10k difference in favor of SK, they only have to split push this map right now because they don't have to do anything else but to stall this game out, get them top high ground as well as middle tier 2 and the high ground tower, because bottom lane is already pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to pay as much attention to that bottom lane as you would do the others, knowing that the high ground is down, so they can turn their attention to the top and the mid and keep it clustered in the top half of the map. Because, to be honest, one of the side lanes is better to take for a split push orientation. If you take the middle lane, you've got a distance between your 2 outstanding objectives that is too great to quickly rotate. So having the mid and the side available for you to push is definitely advantageous to keep the pressure up and a lot easier to sustain. Although, they do have the Xennial, so they could actually sustain it quite adequately. It was the mid that they took out first. But a lot of attention still being put on the bot. What they want to do is make sure the minions are meeting and actually going into the base. Because at the moment, Vitality pushed them so far back out, there's a lot of travel distance. Now they've got them back in the base, they can start to go aggressive. But Nico, a little bit too aggressive for him.
Vitality is going to take this fight, and SK is the one falling, actually. Pish is going to go down, and the jump in is going to be there from Poseidon as well. He's going to try to fight Zutaro, but he's not going to come out as victor. He's going to fall Flow with ultimate onto Light, and now SK is 2-man standing. Vex is going to take one of these kills, and SK are still going to take this fight. Flow with the cleave is there, but he doesn't get the kill, and SK now at least looks like Vex is going to back out Light. This stick for a second longer, but SK is on the retreat.
Yeah, you have to back out of that fight. You lost a lot of your key members there. No Batman, no L'Oreal, no Fane. So you're really lacking in damage and a lot of your crowd control abilities. You cannot keep up with the fight, especially considering that you've still got Malok, who can enchant his blade, put out that true damage, so he can hit like a truck. And you've got Moon on this Praetor, who's been playing phenomenally so far. His scoreline's not that reflective, but he's got the assist. But Vex gonna catch out Zutaro, forcing out that ultimate. Gonna use the sword and shield to get himself away. Here's the charge up for Moon. Can he land the shot? Just a little bit out of range for that one, but Vitality are going to retreat back into their base. And no, they're not, because Redemption's out there by himself on that Lindis, and that's an easy pickup for the side of SK.
This is going to be catastrophe for Vitality side. Now they're going to have to defend without Lindis, and SK have full 5 members. This is going to be catastrophe for Vitality, and they're going to try to defend this Pish. He's going to jump on the tower. He's going to actually turn around on Moon. He's going to take him out, and now Poseidon's lost a lot of HP as well. Vitality are going to hold the defense and force SK to go back and rethink their plan.
A little bit more control is needed by the side of SK. They've had multiple opportunities where if they were a little bit more cohesive, a little bit more patient with what they were trying to do, they could have actually ended the game already. You saw Pish, he's diving constantly under that mid lane tower with little to no results. He's actually just throwing himself under the tower to die at this point. So he either needs to be a little bit more selective with his picks or move in with the team itself to buy himself some more time.
Yeah, didn't make any sense for Pish to jump in there because I guess he was trying to kill Moon, who is the immobile backline that Vitality have, but he was jumping way too far. His team wasn't even near him when he died, so I think a little bit of miscommunication coming out from SK, and well, it did give Vitality a little bit of time to farm up because, well, the longer Vitality can survive in this game, the more the gold difference is gonna just disappear because the fact that once SK are 6 slotted, the gold difference doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, the longer the game goes on, the less the gold lead matters. One thing I want to point out quickly is you're rocking the new skin you get for finishing in a high placement in ranked. He's played those 10 games of ranked already, so he's got himself that skin. So, you know, pay attention, you could get that as well if you get above gold. All the best of luck to you.
Yeah, SK going once again for the Dark Slayer, and Vitality once again don't have any vision of that happening. Actually, kind of surprisingly enough, because they have Lindis. Lindis could put those traps down at the Dark Slayer, and you could have vision of that. Doesn't do that, then SK once again get a free Dark Slayer.
See, in Vision, there's a problem with that. Lindis needs to be alive to be able to do that, and she got picked off recently, and it stalled out all the time she could have had to get that. But you're right, she does have these Vision tools available, should be using them a lot more to keep track of the movements of SK, especially when it comes down to major objectives like the Dark Slayer. They're going to go back into the middle lane. They really want to take this one down, and this is the hole they want to crack for Vitality's base.
Yeah, now SK is going to go for all 3-lane push. Pish was down at the bottom lane, and I think this is a good strategy by SK because it plus ups Vitality forces who are already really fragile because of the fact that it's this 12,000 lead right now as SK is going to look for this fight. Nico's going to charge in. Pish is going to come in as well. He's not going to jump onto the backline as he previously did. He's going to stay relatively safe. He's the one taking damage. And now, finally, we have a kill, but it's on to Nico. Pish is going to fall as well. There's the ultimate from Flo. The middle high ground is going to go down. Meanwhile, that was happening. Vex is going to try to deal damage.
Poseidon's still alive.
He's gonna be dealing it. Moon is still alive as well. Poseidon is dashing back and forth. Vex is stealing the stun. And now Redemption has to be careful. There's the damage from Moon. But the healing. Vex somehow survives this unbelievable play. He trades his life and gets the kill, but just barely.
Pop the Ancestral Glory, unfortunately. While that was all going on, SK still come out the victor. You know why? They've got all the high ground towers now, double super minions going down that middle lane. So Poseidon peeled back around to the top to finish that one off, and before they fully committed to the core dive like they did, they managed to get the mid lane like you correctly said. Vex had the Ancestral Glory to commit to that fight. He wasn't afraid to go down there knowing that he'd come back up. The problem was that because they made the call that Poseidon should fall back and get the high ground tower and not commit to the fight, it means that Vex was left to dry under the core, soak up the tower, and ultimately he died. That's why you saw him pinwheel into the spawn platform, because he knew he was dead anyway.
But interestingly enough, Death Eco coming in handy for the Ryoma, because he did survive because of the lifesteal for that damage there that Vitality did bring. So a good itemization there from Vex, and in the end, it ends up working out for them. Now Vitality once again going to have to put on really good defense, because now with all three high ground towers down, there's going to be more siege minions in middle.
It's very rare you ever see a team come back from the 3 high ground towers down. There's too much pressure with the double super minions. One thing to note about Death Sickle as well, if you're new to the game or you don't know, the passive on Death Sickle, it actually reduces the damage that would be fatal. That's how it saves you, and it's one of the key reasons why Vex was able to stay alive so long, because the fatal wound, so to speak, was reduced. But this could be the final fight. Poseidon going incredibly low, calling in light with that ultimate, but it's Flo who jumps in. Oh. He's going to take out the backline entirely by himself. That Enchanted Blade is doing work. He's even forcing out Vex, and the rest of Vitality are making the retreat out of the base. Peach goes down as well, and now Light has only got the shield to keep him alive. They've broken through the damage. There's no pop for you. Double kill for Redemption, and Vitality have won the fight with all members remaining. This is one of the conditions they can use to get back into the game.
Yeah, Vitality with a really strong fight. They were able to so well execute this fight. Flo did find the initiation down onto the backline. Meanwhile, his team was just started stepping backwards towards their own core, where there was safety. And I think right now SK dove a little bit too deep, but also Sutaro's wonderful Wonder Woman play, as Vex is going to get caught out right now. He's going to try to do the spec draw, but there's the pullback once again from Sutaro. He did it in the last fight as well. He was able to bring back Pish when Pish respawned from Ancestral Glory. So I think Sutaro's Wonder Woman play just absolutely fantastic here.
Absolutely. I want to identify Flo as one of the core players of that victory as well. His use of shock there as a zoning ultimate was so important because he divided the team of SK when they were in retreat, and he was able to pick off the more vulnerable players and keep the fight going. Not only do you have the knock-up from shock, it creates a ring that will slow anyone entering or leaving for a short period after the drop. So it really does split up the team, and divide and conquer has been around for centuries in Vision. It makes sense, it works. So I really put that fight on the back of Flo there, especially once the tide began to turn.
Yeah, good fight by Vitality, and they do hold on, and with that fight they bring the gold lead down onto about 5,000 territory, which is a huge for Vitality because now, well, they're closing into that 6 items as well on their members, so it's gonna be, at this point, it basically comes down to execution rather than one team having item advantage over the other.
Absolutely, and for Vitality, they crack down the mid and the mid outer and inner tower in that last push. If they win this next fight as convincingly as they did the previous one, they can end the game. They just need to make sure they keep themselves alive, keep the 5 members, have one to hold back and clear wave still. It was Moon last time, it'll probably be Moon again. Let's hope that they can repeat the same success.
Yeah, Vitality have to take care of the Winians, so we call them.
Yeah.
They're pushing the base, they can hurt a lot, so Vitality definitely on the back foot. Does SK are looking to finish the game here. They're split pushing all 3 waves as the fight's gonna break out. Vex is gonna take a lot of damage. He's gonna be on the front line, jumping away with the pinwheel. Now the pushback's gonna be there from Nico. Redemption's falling low, and there's the Pish annihilation onto him. Redemption has gone down. Pish is taking a lot of damage himself. He's not gonna survive any longer as Vex has been pushed out of this fight, but now Sutaro is gonna go down as well. It's Vitality down to 2 members. Flo, will he be able to do anything? He will!
Oh,
He's surviving! Moon is gonna find the damage once again. Will he find it? There's the jump! Fantastic play from Moon! How does he do it? Once again, Light is gonna jump in, but it's not enough. Bish, the last man surviving with 10 HP, and there's it!
Can they clear the wave?
It's an ace! And the wave is the question right now. They're gonna do it when Moon, for now, the Siege Minion is looking for the end here. Moon, will you be able to do this? Yes, there will. Vitality hold just barely.
Here come the wave reinforcements though. They need to keep the pressure, they need to depressurize these waves. There's so much coming in, but they are going to be able to hold for even longer. This game 1 is not over yet.
Well, yeah, yet being the key word, because we were talking about pre-show how the matches are roughly 15 minutes, and we're here with 23 minutes into this game 1. I mean, it's only the semi-finals. It can only get better in game 2 and 3 moving forward.
Well, this game to SK's comfort zone though, because SK have the longest average game time out of the team in the bracket. So this is their comfort zone, whereas Vitality typically shorter games. That doesn't necessarily mean Vitality don't know what to do, because they know exactly what they're doing when they pick up the Dark Slayer and get their first one of the game to hopefully create a more convincing team fight to somehow still find that needle, being able to thread through the needle's eye to get that win under these conditions.
Yeah, well, we're at the point in the game where one team fight can make a difference, because right now, even though SK is consistently pushing, if Vitality get one good fight, now that was a messy fight from Vitality. They didn't win it, but that was really messy. If they are able to win a fight pretty well, then they're able to push down that middle lane, definitely in the game in a heartbeat. So SK have a difficult road, but so does Vitality, because right now they're the ones defending.
Well, look what they're doing. They're clustering around the bottom side of the map. They're hoping someone strays too far outside of the base so they can jump on them, but they're all committing to the bottom lane. I think they're committing to Nico. Meanwhile, everyone's split. You've got Ryoma and Zenny on the top lane, and Batman's rotating back round to bot with L'Oreal to help out. So Flo should be able to de-push this himself. That true damage will cut through Nico like a knife through butter if he commits to that fight.
Yeah, SK right now are looking for the split push. They're looking to split up the forces of Vitality, because right now, as it stands, Vitality is looking so strong as a cohesive unit. If SK is able to pull apart that team, it will definitely go a long way in helping them win the fight and potentially end the game even.
All right, well, Light's going to back out of the base. They managed to get the waves through the front door, so right now they're sitting nice and comfortably in the hallway. Can they make it to the kitchen table and have the feast that is the core? SK being the most rude guest known to man, as Nico maybe caught out here, pulling them out of the base. Peach looking for an opportunity to go in, hasn't commit with the Dark Knight just yet, but Nico still being left out to dry. Where is the rest of the team? They pulled over the Zenio ultimate. Light comes to Nico to keep things alive, and Peach steal. And that Dark Knight uses a defensive use of the ult, but here comes Vex from the side, still pressuring the waves. I don't think SK want to fight this.
I don't think SK is prepared to fight this, considering how the last couple of fights have gone, but I think SK can brute force the base at this point. Because the base is already half HP. If SK just full out commit onto the base as they're doing right now to the fight, they could actually win this game. And Nico is going to go down. It's going to be unfortunate for SK as he is going to go down, spawning from the Ancestral Glory. Azir's going to take a lot of damage. Vitality's going to take this fight. Vex is used Spectral Eye, which means the healing's not going to be there. Light's going to be forced out. Pish is going to go down, and I should be Ancestral Glory prop as well. And the entrapment is there. Pish, will he be killed once again? Yes, he does. Redemption gets the kill, and Vitality once again holds strong on the defense.
Yeah, and you talking about the brute force from SK, it's definitely the strategy they're going for, but Vitality's doing such a good job of keeping the minion wave out of the radius of the core so they can keep those resistances up, so brute force simply isn't an option for them. You know, and it's particularly impressive considering they have no actual displacement in their kit, because when you want to do defenses and you want to keep the core alive, if you had a Feign on your team, like Nico for example, he can just push the wave away from the tower. Displacement isn't an option for Vitality. It's about damage, it's about killing them, and it's about soaking it up and kiting the minions outside of that radius, which is more difficult to do. There's another engagement in the bottom lane.
Yeah, SK is going to take this fight for now, as Flow is going to jump in as well. Light was there as well, as you're taking a lot of damage, and Nico's committing onto this fight. Vex is in a bad spot. There's the shock, and Nico is going to fall. Vex is falling low. He has the Ancestral Glory, but he has to go down for that, though. Spectral Iron's going to heal him up a little bit, but there's the pop onto Ancestral. There's the nuke, and Vitality, they do hold somehow. 27 minutes into this game. Once again, SK find themselves outnumbered.
Absolutely. I'm trying to work out there if Light actually misclicked on Poseidon instead of Vex, because he used his ultimate to go to Poseidon, who wasn't in any real danger. That could have been for reposition, or he could have just wrote off Vex as it is, but maybe that damage reduction being used onto Vex instead, follow up with the heal on landing, could have maybe kept him alive. He did have the shield from Medallion of Troy, obviously the Ancestral Glory, but it could have delayed that pop and maybe kept Vex alive for this next fight. Like I said, he was very close to dying though, so Light could have just written him off and said, well, I can channel it, I might not help him out.
Yeah, I want to just a little bit point out the stats here. 9 towers for SK, 2 Dark Slayers, and 4 Abyssal Dragons. And the gold lead is in Vitality's hands. It's phenomenal how much Vitality are able to farm and soak the gold.
Absolutely, and look at the tower difference. Despite the game's going off nearly 28 minutes in Vision, only 2 towers for the side of Team Vitality and that 1 Dark Slayer that they got. So they know they've still got. If you look at the conditions, if we removed the gold, okay, and then we removed the timer, you would look at this and say SK Gaming has already won the map.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it is. And if you look at just Vitality's scoreline, you could think that we're still about 6 or 8 minutes into this map.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird, this match, so to say. 28 minutes, and this is game 1, mind you. So both of these teams is going tooth and nail for the victory. As we said, everything to play for here, because the loser of this doesn't get any prize money, so going into that grand final means that you're going to secure yourself at least a little bit of that money.
Effectively, each win in this top 4 gives you 750 euros. So this is a 750 euro money match at this point, to then go and play another 750 euro money match.
Yeah, Vex is going to be down at the bottom, trying to pressure Flow here, so he's doing a lot of good damage. Flow cannot take this fight, he cannot go down, and there's the shock pop. So if Vitality need to take a fight in the next couple of seconds or 20 seconds, they're not going to have that ability.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem for Vitality, but when you get to the later levels, if you have cooldown into your build, Malok's Shock actually comes up relatively quickly. He'll be up in the next, I imagine, 15 seconds. So as long as they can hold out and avoid the fight for around about that time, they should be getting the Shock up relatively soon to back them up when it comes to that engagement, because each one of these engagements means the world to each team, because they are game deciding. Or in fact, we've been saying that for the past like 10 minutes now. They should be game deciding. One thing that's going to help you decide the game though, Dark Slayer, SK Gaming are going to pick up this time. Vitality, we're in no position to contest it.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake from Vitality part. I honestly do so. I think that's a big mistake, because now SK have the 30% damage boost, as well as 1% HP and mana regen. It's going to come in handy when sieging the base, and it's definitely going to put Vitality in the back foot, because Vitality's been barely winning these fights. Now with SK's damage boost, it's going to become infinitely more hard for Vitality to win.
But as we've seen, Vitality can retreat under their core and use that to their advantage. advantage. They've got to play around the waves. SK has to force these waves into the base, all 3 of them, and get them to the core so they can start dealing damage and look for the brute force, because even so, they're struggling with the fights, but Nico's trying to isolate Flow.
Yeah, Vitality's going to take this fight. Deski's going to jump in. Flow's going to take a lot of damage, and there's Flow gone down for the Ancestor Glory. Now the return is there as well. Pish is going to respawn into this fight. Once again, Redemption is trying to do it, but Vex is on the core. Will he be able to find the last couple of auto-attacks? There it is. SK finally brute force the issue and take game 1.
Absolutely, looking for that fight. They made sure the minions hit the core, and once they did that, they were like, right, you can fight us, we're just going to send Vex to go on a cheeky little backdoor.